The Equality Act gets passed in the House of Representatives. Lady Gaga posts a $500,000 return for her two precious bulldogs. And Dr. Fauci says vaccines are not going to be the end of this pandemic. All that and much more on the No Bullcrap podcast coming up. All right, so the Equality Act was just passed in the House of Representatives, and it has yet to be voted on in the Senate. That's what we're waiting on, and I'm not sure when that vote is going to happen, but let's just talk about this bill for a second. So what the Equality Act does is it takes the phrases sexual orientation and gender identity, and it puts them into the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which, as we know, banned employment discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national orientation. So what the left wants is for them to not only be able to say you can't discriminate based on someone's actual biological self, their race or their sex, but now they are saying that you will not be able to discriminate against a mentally ill person who thinks that they are what they're not when it comes to employment. Okay, first of all, let's just go into a couple of things that this bill is going to end up doing. This would be, if this passes the Senate, this would be the federal government telling you and me, hey, you have to hire that trans person, because if you don't, that's discrimination. And that would go against what we're trying to turn the Civil Rights Act into. This would be the federal government telling churches, hey, you have to hire that gay person, because if you don't, even though it goes against your religion, that would be discrimination. This would be the federal government telling private schools, hey, you have to hire that trans person or that gay person to teach these kids, because if you don't, that would be discrimination. This would be the federal government telling religious adoption centers, hey, you have to let that gay couple adopt those kids or foster those kids, because if you don't, that would be discrimination, even though it goes against their religious views. This is the epicenter of progressive ideology stumping religious freedom. And there's a PragerU video that puts this so well. It says, if you allow the federal government to steal your religious freedom, your religious liberties, your right to opt out of certain things because of your religious views, if you allow them to take that from you, there's no other right that they won't be able to take, because religious liberties is where we get this idea, this reality that there's something higher than government. And I have the right to refuse to partake in certain things because I don't believe that my Creator has designed me for that or calls me to that, and I don't believe it's healthy for society. If you take away religious freedom, they're taking away your right to a conscience. Because if you fight back against this stuff, if you even raise concerns, you're immediately canceled. And if this is passed in the Senate, you won't legally be able to follow your religious liberties and your religious convictions if this is passed. Say there's a business that is clearly exhibiting racist behavior against its employees, misogynistic behavior. Let the free market and let people make it a big enough deal that everyone stops giving that business money, and then that business suffers financially and probably fails. That's how our free market system was designed to work. We were not designed, in the founder's perspective of things, for the government to encroach on free market and ensure people's messed up, mentally ill, pleasurable perspectives of themselves are secured over religious liberty. We're talking about religious liberty here. This act would essentially be undermining religious liberty entirely. Not alone the other things it's doing, it's doing the whole bathroom thing that the left has been trying to do forever. It's been so you're now not allowed to tell people they can't choose, or you're not allowed to tell people they can't use a bathroom that they want to use if they identify as the other one. If you just put aside all discrimination laws and looked at the average American business, you know what? You wouldn't find any racism or misogyny that I know of It's very rare that you actually see that in a business publicly and obviously. What you would find are some hardworking Americans who don't give a damn about the color of your skin or your sex and only care that you work hard and are loyal to the company and have a good attitude. That's the average American business. And if a business is not focused on those things, and if a business is going to discriminate against you because of the color of your skin or your sex, or even your sexual orientation, then the free market should be able to decide what happens to that business, not the government. Now let's get to those 5 headlines. All right, number 1 for our first headline, Dr. Fauci, which first of all, I don't even know why we're still listening to this buffoon. Dr. Fauci says, quote, "You got to use some common sense. Vaccinated people will start getting together. We'll start gathering." He said that the vaccines are not going to be the end of this pandemic. He does not see, he doesn't perceive the vaccines bringing an end to this pandemic, that we're going to have to still wear masks, we're still going to have to social distance. He says in his mind, if you're vaccinated, use common sense, but get together. He says he would get together with his daughter and give her a hug, which he hasn't been able to do in over a year. Are you kidding me? You haven't hugged your daughter in a year. That's just sad, man. I mean, I don't know else. I don't know what else to say about that. That's just sad that you, as a father, would literally neglect your daughter for a year. You probably haven't seen your daughter in a year because you're a political buffoon. But thank you for that opinion, Dr. Fauci, which I stopped caring about 6 months ago. I'm not even going to get the vaccine, and I'm still using common sense and haven't gotten COVID. So I appreciate your highly educated, nonsensical, high-sounding nonsense is actually what I'm going to say. Educated, but high-sounding nonsense political opinion that no one really cares about. All right, number 2, Lady Gaga, her French bulls. I had to talk about this one because I thought it was hilarious. Her French bulls, they were stolen from her dog walker about a week ago. Unfortunately, the dog walker was actually jumped and shot, and he's going to be okay. He's in the hospital. He's recovering, thankfully. But in the scurry of the event, the robbers stole 2 of Lady Gaga's French bulldogs, and she posted, I kid you not, a $500,000 reward for the safe return of her freaking French bulldogs. Can we just take a second to acknowledge the fact that some people are not able to get a ransom that high for the safe return of a loved one? Like, literally, that happens. Some people are kidnapped and returned for ransom for $100,000, $200,000, much less than $500,000. And she's willing to pay $500,000, which she did, for the safe return of her French bulldogs. Now, hey, you're famous. You make all that money. Do with what you want. But I think you're stupid. And I think that was a stupid decision. All right, number 3. Senator Hawley proposed a $15 minimum wage bill in the Senate. And I just want to talk about the minimum wage argument for a second because I'm sure people who probably listen to this podcast naturally kind of know why it's a bad idea. But just real quick for you guys, the general arguments against minimum wage. So his bill is proposing that any company making over $1 billion in revenue a year have to raise their employee salary to $15 an hour. So he doesn't want the pursuit of happiness. He just wants the limited pursuit of happiness, so long as everybody gets their quote unquote fair share. That's what Senator Hawley wants. He doesn't want what the founding fathers wanted. He doesn't want businesses to actually be able to pursue happiness to their fullest potential, because he wants everybody to be happy, because he's supposed to be in control of your happiness and ensuring that you're happy, instead of you being in control of your destiny and being in control of your happiness. He wants to ensure that, not you. Because, if you don't have a good paying job, it's because, the system is against you, or it's your circumstances. No. I'm sick and tired of hearing all that bull crap. You have full control of your destiny, and you have full control over your life. You can't control your circumstances, but you can absolutely 100% control how you react to them and pull yourself out of any bad situation. Don't tell me that you can't pull yourself out of any bad situation. I'm lucky enough to have a very, very blessed life, but I have heard countless stories and know hundreds of people. I get to talk to hundreds of people as I'm traveling to Front Sight and all these different events I go to, of people that pull themselves out of the worst situations every day. People of all races and genders coming out of every part of the country and making something of themselves because they worked their ass off towards their goals and their dreams, and they did not succumb to an average mentality. They didn't want to be average. They didn't want to be like the mob, like everybody else. And they certainly didn't want to be like what the government was telling them they were, which is, you deserve handouts. You deserve a minimum wage. Only to 15 though. Good Lord, we can't pay you 16. No, you just 15. Yeah, that's all you deserve. But listen, if a company is forced to raise its wages, two things either happen. They either then can't afford to pay all those employees that amount of wages, so they have to let people go, so people lose their jobs. Or that company has to evolve its means of production and still meet its product demand. And so, for example, you have McDonald's lowering the amount of employees per restaurant and replacing certain jobs with machines to take people's orders. So people still lose their jobs. What Senator Hawley wants is for companies to magically have more money to pay their employees, instead of letting the free market do its work and letting the people who work their ass off and deserve that money to keep it. The reality that the left refuses to acknowledge, as I said, is that we live in America and you have the freedom to pursue happiness and create and generate wealth for yourself however you want to. It's up to you. You have the freedom. So don't tell me that you are limited by whatever means necessary. No, you have the capacity to pursue happiness and create something of yourself by any means necessary. That's the reality that we live in. But the left, they think that they should control your pursuit of happiness and limit others if it means achieving yours. That is not fair. That's not fair. All right, number 4, Boston public schools will suspend advanced classes because too many students in them are white or Asian. 4th, 5th, and 6th graders will not be accepted into advanced classes in Boston for the next year because the majority of students in those classes are white or Asian. Now tell me, why does that matter? Oh, it matters because if you're white, you're privileged and you don't deserve higher education. And if you're black or Hispanic, then you're actually entitled to higher education. So do you see how systemic racism, which doesn't exist, if at all it did exist, right now, it would be against white and Asian people. We're literally shutting off advanced classes for kids, mind you. We're not even giving them the option. We're cutting off the option for them because, oh, well, there's just too many of you guys. Also in districts that are 80% Hispanic and black. So the problem is not that there's too many white people. There's too many white kids in these classes. Maybe the problem is just that your city sucks and you need to better your education system. Maybe, I don't know. That could be an answer. The underlining message that the left is doing in things like this, what the left is telling the Hispanic and black communities is that you guys are not doing good, and so we're entitling you to better education, and you're a victim of systemic. Are they saying that knowledge now is systemic? That white people and Asian people are just systemically more knowledgeable and smarter? Are they going to start saying that knowledge is systemic racism? That just even like not, like I don't see an endpoint here. I don't see where else they could. Well, they can go anywhere else with this logic. But the fact of the matter is they're imposing more of a victim mentality on the Black and Hispanic community, instead of offering everybody the same thing and being more personable with each student to helping them achieve their goals. Just because one group of people is having a hard time, you can't just shut off that option to everybody else. That's unfair. That is systemically racist. You're specifically saying no to white and Asian people because there's just not enough Black and Hispanic people in here. How do you not understand that that's systemic racism? But I don't know. I don't understand these people. All right, number 5. Cherokee Nation asked Jeep to drop name of top-selling vehicle, saying it, quote, does not honor us. The Jeep Cherokee. Now, I care about this about as much as I care about the Olympic sport curling, which is to say, practically not at all. And I don't really know why I picked this one, but I thought it was inherently funny that the Cherokee Nation chief, whatever the guy's name is, I don't even know, that he would cause a fuss over Jeep using the Cherokee name for one of its vehicle lines. I mean, dude, why are you not proud of that? First of all, the Jeep Cherokee is it makes up 40% of Jeep's vehicle sales. So the majority of Jeep's vehicle sales. Dude, that's awesome. Why would you not think that's a good thing? But in short, get over yourself, dude. Get over yourself. Now let's go to our brand new segment, reading the YouTube comments. All right, so there was only one comment on the episode from last week. I need you guys to step your game up a little bit and get your butts over to the YouTube channel and drop a comment on this video, right now. But thank you, Christina Paul, for the comment. She says, great content, Reagan. Love it. Keep it going. Also, as someone who just joined the Green family at the Constitutional Defense course at Front Sight, I would highly recommend. I come from a law enforcement family and know guns well, but this course was incredible, from the Constitution knowledge to the gun range / training. The instructors were helpful and great at training life skills. Our family also enjoys the friendships made during our time in class and on the range. We will most definitely be back bringing friends and family to the Constitutional Defense course. Thank you, Green family and Front Sight, for this opportunity. Well, we are so thankful that you enjoyed it, and you are exactly right on all the points you made. Front Sight, guys, if you don't know, our Constitutional Defense courses, we are partners with Front Sight in Pahrump, Nevada. Patriot Academy is partners with Front Sight. And we take classes out there, and they do a 4-day handgun defensive training and get some constitutional training as well. And great community of people. You are surrounded by like-minded Christian patriots, and you will just have a great time. You will learn how to defend yourself physically and intellectually. We'll give you some intellectual ammo on how to defend the Constitution and your rights. So if you want to check out that portion of what we do, go to patriotacademy.com, click on the Constitutional Defense tab at the top there, and that will take you to everything we do over at Front Sight. If you would like a comment read on the show, head over to the YouTube channel, drop a comment on this episode right here, and I will make sure to read it in the next episode. All right, guys, so exciting news. I'm going to be hosting a Biblical Citizenship class. This is Patriot Academy's new 8-week course that we just released this January, and it is all about how to be a biblical citizen in modern America. When it comes to our politics, as a Christian, what does it look like for you to be involved and help preserve and protect freedom and pass it to the next generation? So, starting March 10th, I'm hosting a Biblical Citizenship class, and I want you to join me. Listen, when we look at the country nowadays and we think it's going to hell and it's just awful and chaotic and we can't really see a way out, it's hard to have hope. We got to understand, first of all, that we're playing the long game in this. And as Christian conservatives, in order to protect and preserve those fundamental values that it seems like the left is trying to destroy every day, we have to acknowledge that we are in the long game here. And we're not going to save the country overnight. We're not going to get rid of everyone who is trying to destroy the country overnight. We have to play the long game here. And so that starts with education. We have to know the fundamental principles that this nation was built on, and in turn can start teaching others, and it's like a domino effect. Eventually, you educate enough of the population that you put good people back in office that can secure the rights the way they were supposed to be done. Founding Father George Mason said it so well. He said, "No free government nor the blessings of liberty can be preserved to any people but by a frequent recurrence to fundamental principles." So he's saying if you want to be a nation of free people that enjoy the blessings that liberty brings, you have to be a nation that knows the fundamental principles that produce that liberty. Because if you don't know what's going to produce the liberty that you enjoy, then you can't protect the foundation that is producing that liberty. So what we're seeing right now is a nation full of historically ignorant idiots allowing politicians, hungry politicians, empty-suited politicians to step over and trample over the rights of the people. And if you, like me, are getting sick and tired of it, then you need to join me for a biblical citizenship class and learn the fundamental principles of how to be a biblical citizen in modern America. It's a mouthful, I know. Good grief. I'm talking as fast as my dad right now, and it's shocking. But anyway, come join me. Go to reagangreen.org and click on the Biblical Citizenship tab, little picture right there at the front. There's a registration page down there. You click on that, that'll take you to it. And it's just 2 weeks. It's 2 hours a week of your time. It's one Netflix movie, okay? All I'm asking is you sacrifice one Netflix movie a week and come learn with me. Come invest some time in learning the knowledge that it takes to secure freedom for our kids and their kids. That's what it's all about. You got to start thinking generationally. You got to start thinking about what is America going to look like for my kids? That's a serious question you need to ask yourself. And if you're not asking yourself that, you need to start asking yourself that. Because right now, over $20 trillion in debt. Congress actually just passed that $1.9 trillion stimulus check that I was, or stimulus bill that I talked about last week. They just passed that. So they added literally $2 trillion to our national debt. What is that debt going to look like for our kids and our grandkids? What is America going to look like for our kids and our grandkids? Guys, if you want to figure out what part you need to play to make sure America is free and safe and at least gives them the chance and the opportunity to fix all these problems, if you want to at the very least give them that opportunity, then please come take this 8-week course with me. It is literally just 2 hours a week of your time. That's all I'm asking. You won't regret it. I promise you, you will love it. reagangreen.org. Click the registration page right there at the top. Okay, one more thing. If you want to pick up, guys, look at this. We got Patriot Academy Defender hats. These are brand new hats we're offering at defender-gear.com, and they are custom-made Patriot Academy Defender hats. So if you want to look absolutely fire in a conservative, patriotic Patriot Academy hat, go to defender-gear.com. Use code Reagan10 for 10% off and sports you a Patriot Academy Defender hat. Thank you guys for listening. I hope y'all have a blessed week. I will talk to y'all in the next one.